Recording in progress.
We're speeding through traffic.
Hmm?
Were you speeding through traffic?
Huh?
Yeah, didn't you say you were gonna be late today?
Oh, yeah, I left early. Yeah, I left early. They went to I had a function to go to in Des Moines.
He doesn't have a city phone. But do you have Duo on your
I did. She took it off.
private phone or on your personal phone? I wouldn't have taken it off.
Good evening. Welcome to the Auburn City Council Study Session meeting scheduled for Monday, March 24th, 2025 at 5:30. This meeting is held in person and virtually. Hannah, can you call roll, please?
Deputy Mayor Rates,
Excused.
Councilmember Ammer,
Here.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Here?
Councilmember Clinton Taylor,
Here.
Councilmember Tracy Taylor,
Here.
Councilmember Yolanda Troutman.
Here. Thank you, Hannah. Any agenda modifications this evening?
No, Chair.
Thank you. So let's get into it. Tonight, we're going to hear from our Public Works and Community Development discussion items. And first out of the gate is our capital project status report and feature capital project. Director Gaub.
Thank you, and we have Matt Larson and Jeffrey Bender who are going to come up and give you an overview of what's going on in our capital projects and a briefing on the Auburn Way South project that's about to get under construction here shortly.
Fantastic. Welcome.
Council members, Mayor, appreciate your time. So I'm Matt Larson, Senior Project Engineer. With me,
I'm Jeff Bender, Senior Project Engineer.
on a quarterly basis, we like to come to City Council and present our capital project status update, which is an overview of all the projects that we're working on, very brief overview of all the projects we're working on. And we also like to provide an update on a particular project, feature project that we wanted to highlight. And then as part of this, it's been a while since we've discussed or chatted about the CPS report that we provide as part of the package, and I wanted to just briefly go over what that report provides council. So currently, we have 40 active capital projects totaling total project value of over $130 million. Point to note here is this is $130 million that is over the course of the lifespan of the project. So it could be multiple years or it could be 1 year. So this $130 million isn't the entire annual budget. This is over the entire life of these projects. Of those 40 projects, 28 of them are in the design phase and 12 are currently in the construction phase. So here is what the CPS report looks like in your packets. This is just one snippet of that. The information that you can gather from this is the project identification information, so the project number, the capital project CP number, the project name, the description, a very brief description of what the project includes, the estimated total project cost, if there's any grant money in the project budget, and then generally an anticipated construction start or finish date. Obviously, if the project is in construction, that construction start date is set. Otherwise, it's our best best guess for when we think, or really our planned start for construction. And then the construction finish is also anticipated construction finish. You can also see the project manager who's assigned to that project, and then recent progress that gets updated regularly. So anytime that you go into the capital projects report, you can pull this information. We also throw in there the design consultant and the contractor information if that's something that you are interested in. Anytime when it says NA, not applicable for design consultant, that means we are doing the design in-house and we aren't consulting with the consultant. The link on the bottom there is a link to our capital projects page. On that, you can click on the interactive capital project mapping tool. And so you can see all of our active projects visually on the city map. So then you can go through and you can click through each project, and it provides this same information just in a visual map format. And then you can toggle between a list of the projects or the map on that page. So wanted to take opportunity to talk a little bit about some projects that are currently in construction. So the CPS report is on page 18 of your council packet if you wanted to look at that. So this is our 2024 neighborhood improvements project. This project fills some sidewalk gaps, adds some street lighting, and then it's deploying other traffic calming measures. So the important part of this is that this was a project that's a direct result of our 2022 neighborhood traffic safety program focus area, and that focus area is shown in the pink areas on the aerial there. What our transportation group did is they reached out to, as part of that program, they reach out to the neighborhoods in the residents within the neighborhood via online open houses, door-to-door conversations, and gather feedback from those conversations, and then put together a project that implements these traffic calming measures. So we're currently in construction. And then one point that I wanted to note, one specific improvement is we are installing a raised crosswalk on M Street Southeast at 25th, where we've heard quite a few concerns of speeding in that area. It is near Pioneer Elementary School, so we're excited that to install that improvement for that area. The next project is our.
Can you take questions now, or would you prefer till after?
I prefer at the end, but
No, I just wanted
that-
to make sure, so
we will
I'm not
definitely
raising my hand.
we will definitely have time at the end
Okay,
to
that
answer
sounds
any
good.
questions.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so the next one is our Auburn Avenue Regional Growth Center access improvements. If you've driven kind of the north end heading down towards downtown, there on Auburn Ave, you probably noticed this construction. The large majority of the work is complete. We are awaiting long lead time items specifically, and you'll probably hear a theme of this throughout the year if you haven't heard it already, but we have our traffic signal equipment, traffic signal poles, our street lighting poles all take a really long time to get, somewhere between 9 and 12 months once they're ordered by the contractor. So there are these instances in construction where it appears that the contractor is just kind of doing kind of small cleanup stuff, but really what they're doing is they're awaiting these larger this equipment to arrive so they can finish up the work. And then we do anticipate those poles to come in sometime in September, so we can continue working on that project. This is the 2023-24 neighborhood traffic calming program focus area. So The first project that we talked about, that was the 2022 focus. This is the 2023 and 2024 area of focus. And you can see the pictures of some of the traffic calming improvements that are installed. There in the center is the speed cushion, speed bump, and there's some what we call bulb outs, curb extensions that sort of narrow the roadway to help establish that traffic calming effect. And in the top right is our small traffic circles that are in some of the intersections. That's that one. So the next one is our citywide uncontrolled crossing enhancements project. This one has 4 sites. This is installing enhancements at multiple locations at uncontrolled pedestrian crossings. So enhancements specifically on this one, there's several what we call RRFBs. They're rectangular rapid flashing beacon signals that you've probably seen them around the city and previously. We're installing four of those. And then we also have another raised crosswalk that we're installing. This time is at M Street Southeast at 33rd near the Gilda Ray Elementary School. And then before we move on to the feature project, I did want to give a brief update on our downtown infrastructure improvement project that's everybody is familiar with, I think. And then also a quick update on the theater as well. I don't have slides for these, but I thought it would be important to bring that up in here. So on the theater side of things, we are finalizing the agreement, contract document agreements to begin the design process of the new theater. We are working through that contract right now. We anticipate the design to begin in April. And then on the downtown infrastructure improvement project, the last time that I had presented to council, we weren't sure that if we needed to close Main Street in order to do the work, and we have gone through the design process, and it is evident that we do have to close Main Street for a period of time, extended period of time, and I have started conversations with the downtown businesses. I've had several conversations with the majority of the businesses downtown, and they all seem very positive about the project and how we are helping with I guess accommodating the parking and access to the businesses during construction. And from what I'm hearing from them, it sounds like they're happy with how our plan for maintaining access to their businesses. So. And then that one, we are advertising that project this week for bids, and we will be we're looking forward to breaking ground. We believe sometime in May. Okay, and I'll hand it over to Jeff.
All right, good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to present to you a important infrastructure project that will significantly benefit Auburn. The Auburn Way South project from Hemlock to Poplar. This project is a vital investment in safety, mobility, economic growth for our city, and aligns with City of Auburn values. As you can see from this vicinity map, the project is located on Auburn Way South between Hemlock Street to southeast to the west, and essentially Redwood Court to the east. In that general area, you will see the Muckleshoot India Casino, also their new hotel and conference center. It's near Chinook Elementary School and ties in the new roundabout that was installed by Auburn School District. Auburn Way South is a critical corridor connecting Auburn and Enumclaw, as well as the Muckleshoot Tribal Reservation and surrounding communities. It provides essential access to key facilities such as downtown Auburn, Auburn Transit Center, the Muckleshoot Indian Tribes Event Center and Casino, the Auburn School District facilities, and multiple recreational amenities. The Auburn Way South corridor experiences heavy travel conditions, making this project crucial for promoting a safe and efficient transportation network. Currently, this section of Auburn Way South faces several challenges, including heavy congestion due to limited lanes, lack of non-motorized facilities, such as sidewalks and pedestrian crossings, limited street lighting, unimproved transit stops for King County Metro, as well as the Muckleshoot Indian Tribe. As noted, that 2-lane roundabout that was installed with the Chinook Elementary School, it currently functions more like a single-lane roundabout because there's only a single lane entering it from both the east and west sides. So this completes that section of the corridor. This project was informed by several guiding plans and collaborative efforts. The first is the SR 164 Route Development Plan, which was prepared by the Washington State Department of Transportation. This plan identified the need for widening from a 3-lane to a 5-lane cross-section. It also identified the need for improving pedestrian facilities, including pedestrian crossings. And the second item that informed this project was the collaborative effort between the City of Auburn and the Muckleshoot Indian Tribe. This effort resulted in a memorandum of understanding between the two agencies, and it established a partnership to work together to provide non-motorized network through this corridor, on and along and through the Auburn Way South corridor. Additionally, the Auburn Way South corridor is designated as a safety emphasis corridor in the Auburn Comprehensive Safety Action Plan due to the presence of serious injury, fatal crashes on the corridor. The Comprehensive Safety Action Plan outlines strategies to reduce serious injuries and fatalities for all roadway users along the corridor, many of which are included in this project. The project scope includes the following improvements. We will be adding 2 additional lanes, creating a 5-lane cross-section for improved traffic flow. We will be installing new sidewalks, curbs, and gutters for improved pedestrian accessibility. We will be installing intermittent center medians for control of traffic movements. We will be realigning Poplar Street for enhanced connectivity. We will be installing new storm drainage facilities as well as water main facilities. And we will be installing street lighting for improved lighting for both pedestrian and vehicle users. The bus stops, which are pictured on this lower left corner, are currently unimproved stops. They are shoulder roadside stops. Those are going to be enhanced with bus pullouts to improve transit accessibility. And we will be enhancing pedestrian crossings to improve safety. Specifically, we are going to be installing an RRFB between these 2 bus stops near the apartment complex around the corner, adjacent to the existing Poplar curve, or adjacent to the existing Poplar alignment. The total project budget is approximately $13 million. The project is supported through multiple funding sources and funding partners. Those funding partners are listed here: PSRC federal grants, TIB grants, Public Works Trust Fund loans / grant, city monies, and MIT is also one of our partners in this project. Schedule for construction, met with the contractor on site today, so they are planning on getting started this week. And the planned completion for this project is going to be in summer of 2026, probably closer to spring of 2026, but right now we're anticipating early summer. This project represents a significant step toward enhancing safety, connectivity, and infrastructure resilience in Auburn. By addressing existing deficiencies and implementing strategic improvements, we are providing a more safe and more efficient corridor for all users. I appreciate your time, and we would welcome any questions you guys may have from our presentation today.
Council, any questions for the presentation? Councilmember Troutman Well.
You said on that last slide that there's funding from the city money. How much is that?
Currently, the project has $1.1 million in transportation funding and $2.4 million in water funding.
Okay, and then on the sidewalk,
Yolanda.
oh, I apologize.
Kate, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did have one. I was curious also in the funding space if all the federal funds that are in support of this project have been secured and received, or if there's risk of any of that being frozen.
All of the funding has been secured and received.
Great, thank you.
Councilmember Troutman Well.
Yes. The project from Popular to Hemlock. So where are we getting the space for the sidewalks? Because I know we've needed that quite, since I've lived up there, we've always have walked along the edge of the grasses, the grass and stuff. So are we buying portions of people's property up there, or how are we doing?
Correct. So during the design phase of this project, we had a right-of-way consultant work with us and support us through this project, acquiring strip acquisitions of parcels so that we could widen out and have the right amount of room that we needed for the new sidewalks on both sides of the road.
Thank you, because it's much needed up there, especially when we've got youth walking along that side to go home from school and stuff. So thank you very much. I'm excited about the project.
Question, going back to the Auburn Ave project. Now, you'd mentioned that the light poles aren't coming until September, correct?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Is there a way that the city can work with the contractors to order those ahead of time so that we're not like waiting on them to get those installed, or?
Yeah, so the nature of a competitive bid process is we have to be under contract before they have to bid the job, and then contractors won't order those until they're under contract, and then until they receive approvals of the submittals to us. So they package up their submittals, which can take several weeks from the supplier and the manufacturer, and they package all those up. They send them to us, and then it takes a couple of weeks for us to go through all of those documents. And then as soon as we give them the okay, then they order
Okay.
and it's one of the very first things that we do in the construction phase is we meet with the contractor and say, okay, get your long lead time item submittals in as soon as possible. And typically we have it on the construction schedule as well, where they tell us when they anticipate submitting those submittals to us, so that we know generally when these things are coming in. So it's something that we track regularly, and we're definitely aware of it. It just seems like it over time it's just gotten longer and longer and longer. So yeah, with the competitive bid scenario, we have to wait until the contractors.
We're not worried that it's like a supply and demand issue at all, no?
It is somewhat a supply and demand, but I don't know the exact details of that.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. Kate, did you have another question?
I did. Just one more back on the future capital project. Capital Project 1622 for Auburn Way South, aka State Route 164. With that project, when we're in our construction phase, what type of impacts are we anticipating that will be for traffic up there? And how do we plan to mitigate that for folks living in, around, and at the other side of that?
Great question. So as we were planning this project, we looked at the strategy for traffic control and how we can phase the project in a way that would minimize traffic impacts the greatest. So in that we have it's like a 5 to 6 staged approach, depends on how you want to look at it. So on the west end is where we're starting, and we will have all 3 lanes of traffic that's currently there right now shifted to the south. So part of the contract requirements is the contractor has to maintain a lane of travel in each direction and the 2-way left turn lane, because the 2-way left turn lane is crucial for access to several of our businesses, some of them that have large equipment that come in and out. So there may be intermittent times where a lane might experience a delay because they need to get equipment moved across to and from or bring material in. But in general, we do not anticipate that the contractor will be shutting down lanes of traffic during construction.
Okay, that's really great to hear. So thank you very much for the update on that. I'm sure there were probably some folks that were nervous, and big shout out and thank you to all the businesses and residents and partners up there who worked with us to be able to make this happen. I think it's going to be great for the community, and in particular, I think everyone will be really happy about the bus pullouts in the long run. So thank you, guys.
Councilmember Taylor?
Thank you. I'm sorry, I apologize. I was having some technical difficulties over here, so I might have missed this. So I did catch the part though about Main Street closing down, parts of it closing down. Can you talk a little bit again about that, what that looks like?
Yeah, so for our downtown infrastructure improvement project, we'll be closing Main Street for about 3 months.
3 months.
This summer. And it's effectively Main Street from Auburn Ave to B Street.
Got it. Okay.
And including Auburn Avenue, the intersection of Auburn Avenue and portions of Auburn Avenue to First Street Northeast. And that is because of the amount of work that we have to do in such a small footprint. There's a lot of underground utilities that we're putting in, new full roadway, new curb gutter sidewalks.
Barring any unforeseen acts that we obviously can't predict for, is 3 months about timeline?
For the closure, yes. There will be some work prior to the closure that the contractor is gonna have to do, and we anticipate after the closure as well. Again, traffic signal poles, equipment, gonna take a long time. Street lighting will take a long time to procure those materials as well. So the closure, I wanna be perfectly clear, the closure is the 3-month period. The project itself is gonna extend longer than that, but that's the idea.
Thank you.
Councilmember, any more questions? Looks like we are good, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is ordinance number 6972, amending several sections of the Auburn City Code relating to the State Environmental Policy Act. Director Crum.
Thank you, Chair. Tonight, Senior Planner Dinah Reed will be presenting on that ordinance and those proposed SEPA code changes.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members and Mayor Bacchus. I'm Dinah Reed, Senior Planner with Community Development, and I will be discussing ordinance number 6972 tonight. It starts on page 32 in your packet. My first few slides are just kind of a background and purpose of the State Environmental Policy Act. It was enacted in 1971. In Washington State. It's modeled after NEPA, which is the National Environmental Policy Act, which was signed into law in 1970. And it was developed to recognize and evaluate the environmental or public health impacts of construction, proposed regulations, policies, and private projects. Having said that, for the past several years, probably decades, local jurisdictions have been required to enact their own regulations focused on environmental protection. We have the Growth Management Act, the Critical Areas Regulations, Stormwater Management, Floodplain Regulations, and the Shoreline Master Plan. Anytime a project with potentially adverse environmental impacts is required by our Public Works Department and our Planning Department and our Development Review Engineering Department to provide studies for the project. And they can include traffic impact assessments, geotechnical reports, wetland delineations, floodplain permits. Our international building code standards have safety measures involved, and then our zoning code has performance standards that address outdoor lighting and landscaping, these types of things. The Washington State Legislature recognized the need to reduce the use of SEPA for many projects because of all of these studies that are typically come with projects that have environmental impacts. And so they updated the specified number of units from undergoing SEPA review. They updated the categorical exemptions, and they made them less restrictive. And WAC 197-11-800, it gives local jurisdictions the option to adopt these new thresholds for SEPA exemptions for minor new construction. This is important because it streamlines the permitting process without having to go through the SEPA review process, which is essential with our new timelines we need to meet. It also helps to lower the cost to developers, and particularly for developments that are multifamily, including our middle housing projects and apartments that will become more prevalent. And you need to understand and know also that even though there will be many projects that may not be required to go through SEPA with these new categorical thresholds, the city still reserves the authority to require SEPA if they think it's a likelihood of being any kind of adverse impact to the environment. So this slide shows a summary of code changes. We have proposed, revised, and amended sections. We have 3 of them. And then we have 2 sections that we're adding. And I'll go through these briefly. The categorical exemptions, as I mentioned, is the most significant, I think, of the code changes we have to our SEPA code. So this is what the state has changed. This is what it was, crossed out, and then they changed it. I put that in bold so you can see it better. For the construction or location of single-unit residential dwelling units, formerly known as single-family residential units, a developer would be allowed to build 30 dwelling units or less, or 100 single-unit residential dwelling units where each is less than 1,500 square feet without triggering SEPA review. Used to be 20, now it's 30. For construction or location of multifamily residential units, such as middle housing, apartments, and townhomes, you can build 200 units or less without triggering the requirement for SEPA. For office, school, commercial, recreational service, or storage buildings, used to be buildings of 12,000 square feet or less, and they've upped that to 30,000 square feet or less, and with associated parking facilities designed for 90 or less automobiles. Will not trigger SEPA. And then for parking lots that are not associated with a structure, 90 or fewer automobile parking spaces would not trigger SEPA. And lastly, for fill or excavations, 1,000 cubic yards or less of fill would be exempt from SEPA under these new categorical exemptions. The next part of the code that was revised is our substantive authority. This is simply revisions to this section. We updated the names of particular plans. It used to be called the 6-year street plan. It's now the Auburn Transportation Plan. It was called the Auburn Capital Improvements Plan. It's been updated to be called the Auburn Capital Facilities Plan. The Energy Management Plan is no longer relevant, so that was removed from this section. And Auburn Comprehensive Plan and related reports and studies that are outlined They were outlined in just Appendix B, but now this has been changed to all appendices and supplementary reports. So that's the basic changes to that section. The next one, the next two are code additions that we've added. The first is planned actions, which the city of Auburn has already used planned actions in the past. If we use them for a geographically larger area, like a sub-area plan, downtown plan, and those projects require an environmental impact statement. So we're simply adding this text to our code because it wasn't in the code before, but we have been using it. And the second one is also the optional determination of non-significance process, which is not used very often. It's used for really minor projects that have no environmental adverse impacts. So we're adding that section to the code as well, since we're already using it. And that concludes my presentation. Do you have questions for me?
Council, any questions? Looks like there are none. Fantastic.
Okay,
Thank you for
very
your time.
much.
Next up is ordinance number 6976. It's an ordinance amending the comprehensive zoning map. Director Crum?
Thank you again, Chair. Planning Services Manager Alexandria T will provide a presentation on this proposed change.
Good evening, council members and mayor. My name is Alexandra Teague. As you mentioned, I am the Planning Services Manager. Brief presentation. I don't have a PowerPoint presentation to show you. No, trying something new. But I am here to discuss Ordinance 6976. It is contained on pages 70 to 75 of the packet. The map amendment is specifically on page 75 if you would like to reference. So the background is during the 2024 periodic update, that's the comprehensive plan update. We did a massive update to our comprehensive plan map, that's land use designations and our zoning map. We did the massive update to these maps to coincide with the consolidation of zoning and land use designations. For example, as you recall, R5 and R7 became R2. As part of that, we also changed the colors. We refreshed the colors on both of the maps. But what happened inherently on the updated zoning map, due to a mapping error, 6 privately owned parcels were misidentified as P1, that's public use district. These parcels are residential. The public use district is meant to be things like schools, and things of that nature. It was brought to my attention, and I quickly put together materials to make that correction. I have spoken with each of the property owners. There's 6 parcels. 4 different property owners. I have spoken with each of them, told them the situation and told them the fix, the remedy. So that is what I have before you tonight, is to correct the misidentification of these 6 residential parcels from P1 to the residential zoning district. It's RNM, it's residential neighborhood mixed use.
Council, any questions? I see none. Fantastic, thank you. Wonderful. With that said, we have nothing else on the agenda for this evening, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.